everyone, it's me and Miss Eliana here, and she's 3 weeks and 3 days old now, so I wanted to do a video about my experience with membrane sweep. And if you're pregnant or hoping to become pregnant soon, which I'm praying for you, sending you all the baby stuff, I just want to share my experience so you can decide if you want one or not. Anyways, so what is a membrane sweep? So membrane sweep is basically they get their little finger. You have to be dilated some, obviously, and they go up, up you, and they separate the baby's sac like this from your uterine wall. So they literally stick their finger inside of your cervix and separate the sac. The whole point of the membrane sweep is to induce labor and to produce that oxytocin hormone. It's supposed to release that in your body to jumpstart labor. I had always heard they were pretty painful, but I still wanted to try it because I was facing another C-section, and as you know, I was trying to go for a VBAC, and if I didn't get her out by like 39 and some odd days, they were going to probably do another C-section because of the diabetes and everything else. So I opted to try this. I have been trying different things to go into labor, and nothing was happening. So January 23rd, I passed my first glob of the stickiest discharge I ever had. It was like, I would describe it, it was gross, like slime. It was that consistency, but it was super sticky. So I passed that, and then January 24th, my doctors didn't know I ever tried this. I never told them, but I did drink a teaspoon of castor oil. I was a baby. I didn't want to try like the 2 tablespoons right off. I drank that with a cup of orange juice. Good morning, everyone. I am 38 weeks pregnant. It's January 24th, and I decided to try castor oil to induce labor. I have 1 week to get her out. I know somebody that's done it 5 times. She's went into labor all 5 times, so hopefully I have the same luck. First, here's my bump. One more time, hopefully the last time. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Okay, it's actually not that bad. This is really thick. And it have a taste, which it's not supposed to. And I went and took a nap afterwards, and 2 hours later I woke up and I had like a horrible headache. I felt horrible and my stomach was upset. I had a few contractions that night, but nah, they were nothing. So yeah, my stomach was upset that night. I never threw up. I did have like loose stool, TMI, but no diarrhea. So thank God. So then January 25th, I got my first membrane sweep by my OBGYN. And I spotted afterwards 1 centimeter dilated. I was -3 station, which means she was in the pelvis, but she was really high up. And I was about 40% effaced, so hadn't made much progress. After I got the membrane sweep, I had cramps and contractions, some pretty painful ones. We went and ate lunch with my folks, and I told them, hey, y'all are going to go through this torture with me. So I made my husband and our kiddos and my parents, we all went to the mall, and we made laps around our mall trying to get labor started. I just was having some pretty good contractions, but Eventually that night I got home, I bounced on my birth ball, I did hip roll, trying to get her down. When directions got consistent off and on, or like they would be consistent for a few hours and then they would die off. And it even got consistent enough and close enough where my app was like telling me to go to the hospital, but I didn't want to. So I wanted to make sure it's going to stay since it kept starting and stopping, which it obviously stopped. So after that first membrane sweep, I did pass a few globs over the next few days of that sticky cervical mucus stuff. It had a little bit of pink in it, like pink tint. I didn't spot a whole lot after that sweep. I had always heard you bleed pretty heavy, but not really. I didn't. So then that was Monday. So Wednesday, I went in for another one. I was still 1 centimeter dilated, -3 station, and 40% efface. Sorry, she is moving my arm, which is holding the camera. It made me a little crampy, but it didn't feel as effective as the first one. I didn't get like no good contractions or nothing like that. And I passed some CM with pink mixed in. That was the most that it did. I still continued to bounce on my ball and do hip rolls and exercises and stretches to try to get her in position, trying to get labor started. And it did not work. So then I was very down and like discouraged by this point. I even cried over it, especially after Monday when it didn't work, because I tried the castor and then I tried that and it didn't work, and I was emotional. I was ready to meet her, and I wasn't trying to have surgery to meet her, and so I just felt like giving up, like, dang, maybe I should just schedule a C-section. Nothing's working. Anyways, but then I was like, forget it. I'll go on Friday and do one more. So I did. On Friday when I went in, she had moved down a little bit. So she was now a -2 station. And I was 60% effaced and between 1 and 2 centimeters dilated. So I got a little bit looser. And I asked the doctor, I was like, while she was in there doing a sweep, I was like, do you do stretches too? She's like, sure, I could stretch you. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we're just talking like we always do while she's doing it. And then she started that stretch and it took my breath away. I literally like stopped mid-sentence and I was gripping the side of the bed so hard, like my knuckles were white. It was so painful. Yeah, I couldn't talk through that. It was bad. I bled bright red blood for the next few hours after that one. And then eventually it stopped. Later that night, I passed a different, it was almost like a blood clot consistency. It wasn't sticky like that. It was thick, but not sticky. Consistent, it was just a big brown glob, which I'm guessing is a bloody show because it can be bright red or brown. So, which usually means within 48 hours you're going to go into labor, or so they say. So, I passed that, and then I had, after that stretch, I had contractions that night into Saturday and into Sunday morning, and then they died off Sunday afternoon. They were like, it was kind of the same thing after Monday where they would be consistent for a while and then they would die off. And by Sunday afternoon, I wasn't having any contractions. They just like completely stopped. And I was very frustrated and discouraged. And I was like, man, I'm just going to get another sweep tomorrow. You know, like I'm going to see my OBGYN's partner and I'm going to get another sweep on Monday. That was my plan. I had an appointment at 8:45 that morning. So 8:30 Sunday night is when, if you heard the birth story, we went and ate IHOP. And then 11:30 is when I felt some little trickles while I was sitting on the couch. I had a change in my underwear. It wasn't a whole lot, but it still was wet. And I had a few more gushes in the toilet, and then it just stopped. And I went to the hospital anyways because I was going for a VBAC, having GBS positive. They wanted me to come in, so I went in and they did the swab, and they were like, oh no, it wasn't your water. So they sent me home at 1:30. I still think it was my water. And then I got up by 4 a.m. and that's when the floodgates opened and my water for real ruptured. And was no denying it that time. And I still didn't go in because it did stop again. I filled up a whole maxi pad then, and I still didn't go in because when I called them, I told y'all in the birth story, they were telling me, well, jump up and down, do... Oh no! You didn't like me jumping up and down? And do stretches and stuff, and see if any more comes out. And I did, and it just stopped flowing. And I was like, I'm not going in, and then making me be a liar or whatever, think I'm crazy. So I didn't go in. I just waited till my appointment, and which obviously the rest is history. My water had broke, and they sent me straight to the hospital. So would I suggest getting a membrane sweep? The answer is yes. I do think that is why my water broke. I do think it helped. When I went into the hospital, I was dilated too. I didn't have contractions after my water broke, which is crazy, but I didn't, and that's why 6 hours later they started me on Pitocin. So yeah, I had some that morning. I take that back. I had some that morning, but they quit by the time I got to the doctor. So yeah, I definitely would suggest it if you can handle the pain. The sweep itself, like I said, was not that bad. It was the stretch. Don't ask for a stretch unless you're really ready for some pain, because they're literally like pulling your cervix like that to stretch it, and it does not feel good because you know that is a muscle that is tight and they're pulling it apart, and it does not feel good. So anyways, I just wanted to share that and let you know what it feels like and everything. And anyways, guys, thank y'all for watching. Hope this was helpful. Bye, guys.